welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I am Cameron.
I'm Dave Candido.
And I'm glad that totally worked out because I was like, wait a second, we're going to have a cluster here. You know what I mean? We
I
didn't
was kind of wondering
rehearse.
myself.
You know, I
Just
haven't done a
jumped right in.
three-person podcast in a long time. Yeah, but yeah, we thought we'd come together. Actually, it was Dave's idea. He's like, hey, you going to pick up the new Halo? I'm like, well, of course I'm going to pick up the new Halo. It's a new Halo. I'll play anything. Plus, I have Xbox Game Pass, so I have no excuse.
Exactly, yeah.
But, you know, and he's like, we should do another, like, multi-person podcast and talk all about it because we've never really done anything on Halo. And I'm like, that's a great idea. I know Cameron will probably get it. So here we are right now, knocking it out and going through the Halo glory of everything, mixed match, future past, and all that stuff. But you know, yeah, we can make it like a deep dive of all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm just a diehard Halo fan, and I think I've played every Halo game except for one of the I almost said SMS, but one of the
top
iOS or one of the cell phone games.
Yeah.
Because now I think there used to be both of them were on Microsoft Game Pass, but I think only one of them is now. It's like Spartan Assault or something like that.
Yeah,
But,
I know you have to play them on PC is how you have to do them.
I could play the one on Xbox.
Okay, yeah, I
and,
think one plays on Xbox. You can play the other one on the PC version of Game Pass.
Interesting.
You
But
know,
I
had that
played
game
for a
when it
little bit and I
initially
got kinda
came out
tired
on
of it.
Windows Phone because that was like in a Windows Phone exclusive
Yeah.
for.
I
back
tell
in the
you,
day.
I really wish there was a port of Fireteam Raiden.
Yes.
That'd be so
Oh, yeah,
freaking
yeah.
cool. Or just one day I'll deplete my savings and buy one of the setups like I have at the casino.
$12,000. Just set that up somewhere. I'm so always surprised. There's a handful of those arcade games, you know, beyond just even the Halo one. That I'm
Yeah.
like, why have they? You know, these games are like almost 10 years old by now. Like, why haven't they just re-released these onto like a console? You
There's
know?
there's different versions of Fireteam Raven. I've seen
Is there
different
really?
physical versions of that. Yeah, it's just, this game plays the same, but there's like I've been to like 3 different arcades where they had them. 2 of them that I saw were the originals, and I saw one that was an updated one. I just thought, like, why are they spending money on this? I mean, like, I don't even think a lot of people even know about this. Like, unless
Yeah,
you're a diehard Halo fan.
Well, it's kind of
But
a hidden gem one. I know I ran across because mostly you'd always see the 4-player version where you had the 2 screens
yeah,
and then the 4, you know, guns and everything. When I was in, I guess it was Monterey actually, they had a 2-player cabinet one, which I've never seen one like that before. And I thought that was
Interesting.
still pretty cool.
wow.
So I'm like, the 2-player one explains it like, here, this should be on Xbox, you know, Series X. Like, what? You know, come on.
But yeah, I don't know. I think everyone could probably question a lot of what 343/Halo Studios has done since they took over the franchise. I'm gonna be honest, I'm still gonna play it, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. There's a bunch of moments like I'm sure you guys had where I'm playing, I'm like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool, and then 10-15 minutes later, I'm like, okay.
Well, and I gotta say this, my whole like history of Halo, if I go back in the day, like when it initially came out, I remember like literally going to my buddy Thomas Chiquetta's house and he had it sitting there, and it was like the first time I saw an Xbox original. You know, we used to just call it Xbox One back in the day. You can't call it
Yeah.
that anymore. But and kind of playing and going, oh, okay, that's interesting, and so on. But during my high school years, I was so hardcore Nintendo that I like was anti Xbox in a sense. You know, like I really stuck to my guns there and so on like that. So other than playing it like a couple of times, I didn't really get around to it till like the tail end of the Xbox. I bought one, you know, when you could go out and get it and collect all
Yeah.
the games for $5 to $10 a piece. And I had to like almost sell it to myself, be like, well, I'm buying it for the Sega games, you know,
There you
that's
go.
what it's all about. Some stupid justification to why you can't get it. But in that process, I remember sitting down and finally having Halo 1 and 2 and playing through those with my buddy Kyle. And it was kind of like finally it's like, oh, okay, I get it. Here it is. Especially when it's in split screen co-op, like it's all starting to make sense now.
Yep.
You know, and from that point on, I played everything since then. And ironically, as time has gone on, Xbox is my main console I use to play games.
That's funny.
Yep. No,
I
it
think
it was even similar with me, like, because I remember when the original Halo first came out, like, you know, Combat Evolved, and the one buddy that I had that happened to have an Xbox, like, you know, got that game on day one, and I spent pretty much every freaking weekend for months going over to that house, just replaying Halo Combat Evolved over and over and over, getting down to the point of doing legendary runs, like everything like that and all that too. I mean, I have it. It's probably hard to see.
Yeah, you get there. You go.
But that symbol right there at the top of my tattoo, that's a Halo 3 symbol. I was trying to go pro at one point. so, but no, Halo's been a part of my life forever. Ever since I can remember. When I got my first Xbox, it was in 2005, I guess.
Okay, so that's about the same time I got my Xbox too.
And mom got me a it was sitting on the coffee table, like at this house, because I was living at this house at this time. And I remember waking up Christmas morning, like 2004, 2005, whenever it was. And like there's a brand new Xbox sitting there, a 20-inch Magnavox TV with Halo 2, like in a year for Xbox Live. And like that was the coolest Christmas present I could have got. So
I got mine. Yeah, I guess it was right before. I think I got mine in 2003.
Okay.
I only know this because I remember seeing previews and commercials and stuff for Halo 2, or maybe it was E3, like the videos on the internet about it coming out. And I remember watching the E3 gameplay trailer for Halo 2. And then when I played Halo 2, I'm like, this isn't the same. I'm sure you guys remember there was like the gameplay footage they showed at E3. There was brutes in the new Mombasa level, and I remember playing. I'm like, there's no brutes. Of course, they were saving it for later in the game, but no. So I was super excited for Halo 2, and I hadn't played Halo yet. And then I think it was the Christmas, sometime before Halo 2 came out, I got the Xbox and a hand-me-down version of Combat Evolved from my brother, and gave me a handful of other games too, like Top Spin. That was like one of my favorite
table tennis one.
Yep, the game was so fun. It was ridiculous. Who would
Was
think?
that the one that was made by Rockstar?
I think that was on 360. That was 360 era.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because I remember Rockstar had a real fancy like table tennis game, and that makes sense. Yeah.
It was like a Top Spin, Fusion Frenzy,
Fusion Frenzy,
Halo. I think there was another game or two that I had at the time, but yeah, and so it was a while before I got 2. But no, I thought that game was so cool. I hated the Flood. I don't know how many people really like the Flood. At the time I was so upset because I just wanted to keep killing the Covenant, and like I was like 13 or something, and I'm just thinking like, man, these things are kind of creepy and scary, and I don't like it. I just want to go back to killing grunts. But no, it's a revolutionary shooter, and it was the first shooter I played that I was even good at. I still suck for the most part on a lot of like matchmaking games, especially nowadays. I feel like every shooter I play nowadays that's online matchmaking, it's like I feel like I'm playing the same exact game over and over, and I just suck. But as far as the campaigns with games, it took me a long time to really like learn how to be good at them. And Halo, I felt like was probably the most forgiving shooter I'd ever played. That whole recharging health, you just seemed like you were so much stronger and better than every other and all the enemies, and it was awesome. So yeah, I mean, like of course, like anyone that played it, I feel like I don't think it even matters what you're into. Like I feel like anybody who grew up about that time and started playing Halo, they probably would be a fan for however long. I mean, until the franchise really dies, which I hope there's a respectful death if there is a death. But I don't know.
Well, I like to say this because you're talking about how like the game almost was a little bit more forgiving. I want to say that was one of the first games though that had like saving checkpoints in it too. I remember that being a big deal because first-person shooters back in the day mostly was like, unless you're on PC where you had save states, like on consoles, it was always like you had levels. So if you died 3/4 of the level, it's like, restart the whole level again.
Yep.
That was how Perfect Dark was. That was how GoldenEye and Turok and all that kind of stuff was. Because that was where I kind of got used to like first-person shooters was on the N64. That they had a lot of the stuff on there. I mean, you had a couple ones on Super Nintendo and Genesis and so on, but 64 with Turok and GoldenEye and Perfect Dark and Doom 64 and Quake and all that stuff. That was kind of like where I got used to first-person shooters and so on. But also, I was used to a completely different control scheme. So when I came to Xbox, like I couldn't use that like the initial, like you'd almost say mouse and keyboard, like converted over to controls that Halo pretty much popularized. I used to always refer to that as Halo controls for the longest time. Still do to this day, probably actually. But I would switch mine back to kind of GoldenEye style controls where you would go forward. I guess they're almost like tank controls. You go forward and back, but then you turn left and right on the left stick, and then on the right stick you strafe, and then you look up and down, and you still aim that way, and so on. So, because that was how GoldenEye was, that was how Perfect Dark was.
Yep.
So, like, I played like that all the way up till I think 360 era is before I switched over to the other style.
That's
controls.
insane. That's insane.
Yeah, and I could still win against other people with those controls.
Yeah. See, I so like we always talk about commonly, and especially like the survival horror genre that we play in and whatnot, because like there's so many games out there that just do not have inverted, controls for Spencer. It's fine for me nowadays, but I started when I first started playing Halo. Like I can't tell you the hundreds and maybe even thousands of hours I've spent in Blood Gulch playing with buddies. Just like team deathmatch, capture the flag, blah blah blah. But back then, like my brain was trained to do inverted controls and whatnot. It wasn't until Halo 2 and I got Xbox Live and I started playing online and whatnot, like that's where, like, I don't know, something just clicked in Halo 2 for me, where it was just like, oh, that doesn't feel right anymore. Pulling down to look up and pulling up to look down, and like it's just so.
I never did invert. I don't know. I was just like, dude, what's wrong with this?
Yep.
See, I'm the other way around. I have to have inverted. Like, if I get a game they don't have inverted controls in there, like, I start sending messages to the person and be like, yo, you got to fix your game real quick. I know you're probably like 19 years old, but you've never even heard the word inverted in your life.
Yeah.
You probably think it's like a racial slur. But I like some of us can't play without it because it's like it will just make me look like I'm special ed, like trying to run through the game, like I'm constantly like looking the wrong direction.
Yep.
Like a grunt. You're playing.
See, and that's literally how I feel like playing GoldenEye, because I suck with the 64 control. Having one analog stick for a shooter just does not meld with my brain like whatsoever. It just doesn't work. So,
yeah,
well, I mean, it's no different than a PC because that one you technically you only have you have like physical buttons like a D-pad.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the mouse is like your even better analog stick in a sense.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
This is the other thing though I was thinking of. I just got go ahead, Dave, real quick.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Okay. I was thinking about this too. This is something that was just going through my mind while playing this because it comes up, when I think about consoles and so on like that, and kind of going, well, like what is like almost like the all-time greatest like launch release game? And I sort of say like launch release is generally like the first 6 months of consoles out because they've all been worked on the same time period, just being some of them might have just taken that extra couple months just to get the printing and shipping and that kind of thing. So I always feel like in that first 6 months, when people are kind of collecting the system and it might be kind of hard to get anyways. And when I was really thinking about like Halo might be the ultimate one. Mario 64 is mostly always my go-to one because Mario 64, I think, is one of the best examples of a 3D game, even this day and age. / it's got an amazing single player in it. But here's the thing. It's only single player. Yeah. Halo gives you not only a great campaign single player, you can also play it co-op. And you have deathmatch in there at the same time. So with one game, you can get so many more extra hours out of that like no other game can, even match. I mean, maybe one of the only other ones I would say is Smash Brothers Melee for GameCube because that came out like 2 months after the GameCube launch. So it's pretty much a launch title.
Was Halo 3 a flagship for the...
No, that was like 2 years later almost.
2 years after the 360 came out?
Yep.
I couldn't remember.
That was 07. I think the 360 came out in 05, I'm pretty sure.
Man, I can only imagine how many consoles would have sold if that came out at the same time.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I remember about Combat Evolved specifically. If you had an Xbox and you did not own Combat Evolved, like, what are you doing? Like, because it was like the console seller for sure. Like, everybody that I knew that had an Xbox, like, that was the primary game that they bought it for. And I can even mirror that in this whole... I'm going to complain about 343 a lot in this episode. I apologize. But like I was explaining to Spencer,
probably, you probably owe it to him. I mean,
I've got a lot to say about it. But it was like literally the reason why I bought an Xbox One was for Halo 5. And I was like, hell yeah, like another Halo, cool, going to go play that, whatnot. Fucking hated that game. I hated that game so much. But nonetheless, I think that Combat Evolved absolutely was the console seller, and I fully agree with you, Spencer, that it's probably one of the greatest console initial launch titles of all time.
Yeah, I actually literally think it might be the best one. I know that seems like you've been just thinking of everything else. Melee is probably the only thing I would say it's in that same ballpark.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
Yeah,
Halo literally gives you everything in one game. That's
yeah.
kind of the most impressive thing there.
You know,
And actually, Xbox actually had a really good like straight up launch. They had a bunch of games. They had Dead or Alive 3 was another big flagship title they had right off the bat. So you had a lot to do with that system where, past Xbox original and, PS2 and all that kind of stuff. Like, consoles mostly it takes like a year before you get like something really good on them anymore, if not 2 years sometimes.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely.
I th- I'm sure I could guess a lot of the criticisms about 343 because I probably share your sentiment. I got to say though, before any of that gets brought up, I feel like there was so much potential, and I don't think 4 ranks among the best Halos, but I also think it's not the worst.
Nope.
And
I like
Not even
4.
close.
I think about it like
Yeah.
this: Halo 4 is like buying a great value Snickers bar.
Are,
Like
are you talking about Halo 4 or 5?
4.
Okay.
So like because I mean I've worked at Walmart and had my share of great value products over time, but it's like I see this right, and I'm not gonna lie, it was not on the shelf for the longest time while I was working there in my last stint. And then I'm putting out candy. I'm like, what is this? And I open it up and it looked like a straight turd. Like
Yep.
it didn't look like a Snickers bar. It just looked like trash. But whatever. I tried it and I'm like, and this is the thing. I think of Halo 4, and it's got its slight issues. There's some strange things about the game, but ultimately, like, it wasn't bad. I mean, you don't suffer going through it. You're just like, I feel like this could have been better, and I question some of the things they did. Like the Covenant sounded really funny. The
Yep.
grunts sounded kind of funny. And I'm like, why would you just not keep the original soundboard or whatever that you would need to make them sound like they used to sound? Like, it's really odd choices, but ultimately,
Sometimes I
it's like,
think that comes down to paying people. Like I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that a lot of
probably.
times the reason that gets switched up, even it's not that they really want to, it's just because it's like an actor, a physical actor. It's like the Star Fox syndrome, where every single time a new version of Star Fox comes out, they got to redo all the voices again, and it just
Yep.
never is the same. The game's still great, but you just go, gosh, what's wrong with that actor that he doesn't want to be in the game again? Son of a
Right.
bitch.
Right.
Yeah, but like,
He's think he's better than come on.
but yeah, post 4, it's like, I'm not gonna lie, I actually really liked Infinite,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, I did. Well, I want to say this about 4 real quick. When that one came out, I remember getting it kind of right off the bat, and so I was like, "Cool, another Halo." I could play it split screen. What I did like about that one that they did in it, and I'm talking about the campaign. I know they kind of
mhm.
jacked up the multiplayer. That's where 4 goes. But the campaign wise, I thought it was kind of cool when they put whatever those robot things are called in there because it felt like it was kind of fresh to have a brand
Yeah,
new weapon set, brand new
feelings or
enemies
something.
to fight. There was
I
all
know.
kinds of, stuff there. And I like that you played as Master Chief the whole time.
Yes.
Not say anything about, but I remember after ODST and Reach, which I did enjoy those ones, I felt like, man, I just want to see Master Chief again. Come on. Like, So 4 gave you all Master Chief, all the Master you could want, and some you don't.
Yeah. What I really liked about 4 in general, like, because its campaign is totally fine. Like you're saying, it's not great. It's not like a 10 out of 10 experience. It's a
No,
7
it's
to 8 out
solid,
of
though.
I was
10. The
very happy to have
multiplayer,
Halo again.
it was
Is what
Yeah.
it
it
came
was
down.
fine. But what I really liked about it is that, I don't know if you guys read any of the books, but I've read like the first like 5 books or whatever, at least up through Ghost of Onyx. I think it's the first 4 books. It was really cool about it is like they included, like, they finally went down the route of like Cortana in rampancy,
Yeah.
like one reaching the end of her term and whatnot, and like Chief dealing with that. They humanized Cortana at that point and whatnot. And it's basically a
Gave her a huge ass.
yeah, exactly. That is the best
It was
Cortana.
still it was still Attitude Era. It was like the tail end
Yeah,
of
exactly.
Attitude Era.
Yeah.
We hadn't yet went into like, kind of woke gaming.
Yeah, exactly. But I really enjoyed it to that extent. But the multiplayer, oh my god, they turned it into Call of Duty, and it's just like you just can't have weapon drops. Like not having weapons on map blew my mind. It's like, where's the power weapons? Oh, you got to get a kill streak. And it's like,
Yeah.
what?
There's a reason why it's good to have games like first person shooters in this case be different, because you get to have a different kind of fun with each one. You know,
Mhm.
there's no point in making them all the same and just copy paste and then like give it a new skin, because that's essentially what it comes down to when you start making them all function the same. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it takes the fun out of it.
Yeah.
But
Well, and Call of Duty, don't get me wrong, I love Call of Duty as far as like the campaigns go. I've played literally every single one of them, and I generally enjoy
you,
like 90% of
I'm
them.
gonna tell you this. After I was done with campaign evolved, the first, because I got Game Pass to play the game, and I'm probably gonna turn it off once my month is up, because I'm broke all the time. But
You should just buy like 2 years in advance, like I do when it goes.
gosh,
sale.
but so I'm done with it, and I'm like, all right, cool. Let me see what else is new. And I loved Black Ops 6, so I'm like, naturally, I'm like, oh, cool, Black Ops 7. Well, it took effing forever to download, and like I was getting
With
really sick of
250
waiting for it,
gigs.
but whatever. And then I start playing it, and have you played that one? Black Ops 7?
Yep. I was
That
very
game's a total
disappointed.
turd.
Yeah, as I said,
played it for
there's
like
a couple of
15
those
minutes.
ones where they drop the ball because they just screw up the campaign. The
I played
only
it for
thing
like
I
15
showed up
minutes and I
for,
turned it off and uninstalled it. I'm like, this is stupid. I
Yeah, it
pressed
was-
pause because I was feeding my cats. I come back and it kicked me out. I'm like, this is a campaign. How am I? What the hell? And yeah, that, and it was just weird. I'm like, this story,
I
what
was-
the hell is this?
I was very disappointed there. Black Ops has screwed me over a couple times because I think there was Black Ops 5 or whatever, or 4. One of those ones too was like no campaign.
I think it
And
was
I
Yeah, just
3 or
online
4.
only.
And I remember I downloaded it, I saw that, and I was like, delete. Get out of here, you.
No, I
Don't
thought
you
Cold
dare.
War and 6 were pretty cool. I didn't
like
play
those
the
ones.
multiplayer, but the campaigns I thought were pretty fun.
That's it. I
Yeah,
just
7,
love the
what a freaking
campaigns.
joke. What a joke that game. Anyway,
But at the end of the day, what the bummer was is that Call of Duty made so many other games turn into Call of Duty.
yes,
And that's fine if I'm playing Call of Duty or if I'm playing Medal of Honor, which is what the original Call of Duty is.
yeah.
But I don't want to see that in my Halo, just like I don't want to see that messed into my Gears of War, just like I don't want to see that messed into any other game. I like games when they're unique and different and they've run in their own ways, and that's what makes them special. And yeah, that was kind of a bummer in Halo is when they kind of jacked up like what made the Halo multiplayer work so well.
Oh yeah. And so weird here too, man, with this. So campaign involved, like I'm just gonna say just outright, like fully enjoyed it. Was totally cool to play through and whatnot. I'm really enjoying that my 7-year-old son is following behind me playing through his campaign. I mean, he's literally at keys right now. Like he's like 2 missions away from finishing. Really, really stellar, like visually wise. And the way that they re-rendered everything in this title and whatnot was super, super cool. Equally, I have a ton of complaints about it though too. With some of the rewrites, some of the animation work, some of the just like weird Unreal things that are going on in this game, like the Unreal Engine shit that's going on in this game. I forgot to send you that stuff, Spencer, but I'll send you video afterwards of like some of the oddities shit that I was seeing. It could be PC based, I don't know, but like there's a lot of weird shit here. But in general, it's so totally solid experience, and I did spend $50 on it, so I actually bought it. So
I will eventually buy a hard copy of it.
Mhm.
I just was I'll buy it later, but I just wanted to play it, so I was like, well, this is a great deal. I'll just pay $22 for this, and
Perfect.
But no, I loved playing it. I thought it was a great time. But and it's like, it's not like it's a night and day difference. It's one of those things where I was talking to my wife about it. I'm like, is this truly a remake or is this just another remaster? I feel like remake is getting thrown around a lot these days, and like kind of like the Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta.
Mhm.
My friend bought that for me, and I love that game. That MGS3 was probably my favorite game for like years and years, and it's pretty dang close to being still my favorite game. But the remake was super cool, beautiful game. But I'm like, excuse me, how are they calling this a remake? I don't know. But
Yeah,
regardless,
it is technically remade.
I get it.
It's not just upscaled or anything like that. But yeah, it is. But it's that weird fine line. Me and Cameron were actually talking about this like a little bit earlier. But it's like a good example of like kind of the wrong way to do a remake is that Final Fantasy VII one, where you
I stopped playing that. I got tired of it. I'm like, this is kind of stupid.
Yeah. And the worst part about it too is like it's so radically different than Final Fantasy that it's not even really an RPG anymore. It's like it's kind of its own like weird actiony game, and it's missing like what makes it kind of what people want.
It was like
I think really at the end of the day,
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, that's it. It's the Kingdom Hearts battle style that took over, and
I don't even like playing Kingdom Hearts anymore because I loved it when I was 12, and then I tried playing it a couple years ago. I got the pack with like all the games in it, and I'm like, oh, this would be cool to rehash. And I was like, dude, I can't play this. This dialogue is so cringe. I'm like, this is just such a weird game. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll sit on my shelf or I'll give it to someone. I don't know. But yeah, no, that's 7, man. I'm like, dude, I'm chasing around kids in some alley trying to get like, I don't know, get them to go home or something. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
what does
just
this
like-
have to do with the story? Nothing.
Well, and that's the perfect
well, they had to
example,
make
like-
Midgar fucking 40 hours. That's what happened. It's like,
yeah. And ironically, that game's the better of the two.
I know.
But it's like that one where it's like that's kind of like I feel like that's the best bad example. It's not saying that game's terrible. It's just it's so different that you have to be in a completely different mode if you're going into that. If you like Final Fantasy VII, that game's not for you in a sense.
Yep.
If you never played Final Fantasy
You
VII
have to
before,
just
maybe
pretend it's
yeah.
something else to enjoy it.
yeah.
And even then, I just got kind of tired of it. I was like, there's other games I want to play more than this.
The second one, I left off on the mission where I had to go find shorts so I could get to the beach, and I was just like, I don't know if I could take this anymore. Shorts so I can go to the beach.
And then the weird hand job when you're dressing up like a girl to save what's her name?
Oh yeah, from
Tifa?
Don Corleo.
I'm like, what is this? Cloud's in there having an orgasm over a hand massage.
Yep.
Like, it's a little strange, but
Yeah,
There's
there's
a
a
lot
lot.
That was strange and funny on the original, but the whole point is like what people generally wanted was just take that same Final Fantasy VII gameplay and just give it modern graphics. And
Yeah.
I give credit to like, in a sense, what Metal Gear Solid did. They kind of just did that same thing. They just kind of ran with it and just said, "Here's Metal Gear Solid 3, just up the graphics." You could even say the same thing of Twin Snakes. The only thing that's really different in that one is, of course, the voices are different, and you got the cutscenes that are very.
they did. I know they
cinematic.
altered the cutscenes a little bit in the MGS3 Delta, and I think probably for the better.
Yes.
That game.
I had zero problems with any of that. See, but here's
No.
the deal. So now we've got 3 versions of Combat Evolved out. We have the original version, we have Anniversary, which is a 343 game, and now we have Halo Studios pulling the fucking mask over 343 to hide their shame. But now we have Campaign Involved. What I personally feel is that Campaign Involved is leagues better than Anniversary was, artistically, stylized wise. Unfortunately, Anniversary was just so bright. When you look at original Combat Evolved footage or like go back and replay it and whatnot, there's a very fine art style to that game.
Yes.
When 343 went in there and did the Anniversary edition, I mean, granted, everything looks a lot better. Everything's like upscaled. It's like, like super high res and, great frame rates and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But everything's like super bright. Like the lighting didn't work well.
Kind of takes away from what the original Halo made you feel.
But Campaign Evolved, though, through the Unreal Engine, using ray tracing, using all the new technology, that's available to, modern hardware and whatnot, I think they fucking nailed it. There's a couple of exceptions, like some of those prequel missions and whatnot. I've been complaining to Spencer of it just like seems like they just threw a purple sheen over like literally everything in those missions. Like everything's just fucking purple, which is very strange.
A lot of purple.
But the campaign itself was very well done, I thought.
Yeah. I didn't know what to think about those missions because at first I didn't know they were going to be prequel missions. I thought maybe they were going to be like extra missions within the campaign. Like I don't know.
That's what Gears of War did on their remake of the first one. Is they literally added a whole nother act that I didn't expect to show up. I just was playing it, and then it's like, wait a second, I've never played any of these levels before, and it's just like, oh, that was kind of badass, especially for the fact I didn't even know. I got the surprise of seeing it in game, where these ones are kind of sold as bonus missions in a sense.
I didn't know if it was going to be like within the story or post Halo destruction because there's a gap between Halo 1 and 2. And then I don't really care that they're prequel missions. Once again, like I'll take whatever Halo I can get. I thought it was peculiar. The drastically different armor that he's wearing. At first I was like,
it's a year earlier. The trends were different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. At first I was like, man, that doesn't quite look like the OG armor. And then, when you get into the regular game, you're like, oh, okay, well, that was just for those prequels.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of the new Sergeant Johnson look. I thought he looked so freaking weird, like a weird,
Keys,
like Steve
too.
Harvey looking hamburger mustache. I don't know, man. It just pretty weird. I'm like, why couldn't you just like the Halo 2 anniversary? Sergeant Johnson was awesome looking.
Yeah.
Well, that's the weird thing is because I was playing just like while we were waiting to record this episode. I've been playing through Halo 2 Anniversary again.
Same.
And that I kid you not, that game's an Xbox One game. I think that game still has at least better graphics for the cutscenes than
Very good.
any of these newer ones. It's the cutscenes are so mind-blowingly good. Like they like really just sank some money into that because
Yep.
in Combat Anniversary or whatever, the cutscenes do not look nearly as good as Halo 2's Anniversary version. I don't know why that is. That game's like 10 plus years old by now.
Yeah. Halo 2 Anniversary is the only reason, like, it's the only thing that 343 has done since they took over the Halo franchise where I'm like, yes, like,
Nailed
good
it.
job. Nailed it. You know?
Yeah, they knocked that one out of the park.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Halo 2, honestly, is probably, I want to say on a technical level, like probably one of the best things in Halo in general, because they took what was awesome about Combat Evolved and made it just
better.
I want to say like technically better. You know, like you might have a difference in opinion on what story you think's better or what mode you think's better, or whether or not you like your recharging health versus the health bars. And I mean, like there's little differences here and there, but I mean, you didn't. It's like Halo 5 where you play half, like I think over half the game is Spartan lock.
You more than half.
Halo
quarters.
2, Halo
like
2,
4
you go back
missions.
and forth, but you're not dissatisfied for how much you have to play as Arbiter.
No,
At
because
least
we
I'm not.
finally get to play as an elite. Like
Yeah.
that's what the fuck we wanted throughout the totality of Combat Evolved is like, where's the elites? Why can we not play as elites? And then they added them not only to the single player component of it, and you get to play as the Arbiter, you get to see the Covenant side of things, you get to see, you know, like the prophets and like all that side of shit. But on top of that, they added it to multiplayer. Like you can fucking play as an elite in multiplayer. Dude, the shit. Like Halo 2 was, I don't know, just the best.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first played Halo 2, I remember I was like, why am I playing as like the Arbiter? Like I'm so confused because everybody looks the same. Like I kept shooting my own teammates and everything like that. I'm not trying to be racist here, but you guys all look alike.
Yep.
You know, and then it was like once like oh good, I went back to Master Chief again. Now I know who I'm shooting at least.
I loved when I was like, oh man, I can go invisible. You know, like
yeah.
It's like, what? And then, of course, I love the explanation by the shipmaster. He's like, yeah, we gave you the old shitty one, so you can only stay invisible for 5 minutes, you know, like whatever it was. But no, I think probably the number one thing problem that I had with this remaster, this Campaign Evolved, honestly, the majority of the things I didn't like had to do with the story of the prequel missions, the story, the narrative, the weird ass scene with the prophet and the members of the Covenant there. Like I read somebody, I don't remember where it was. I don't know if it was Reddit or a comment on YouTube or whatever, but somebody said it perfectly. They're like, why is Master Chief just like letting this guy talk? Like there's no way Master Chief would just straight up like be throwing grenades and jumping over there and like stabbing him in the neck. Like, nowhere in the Halo universe would he just be like, go on, sure.
See, and it's a year beforehand. He hasn't got. He's still working up that charisma.
Man, yeah, that was so weird.
The very first thing that jumped out to me in the prequel mission. So I didn't start with the prequel mission. I played through the whole campaign and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about these bonus missions. So I jump into that. So already right off the bat, throughout the totality of the campaign, it's like we have SMGs in the game. We have, like various things that came later, elites are the Halo 4 design. A lot of the grunt designs are like Halo 4 designs and whatnot. It's just weird, passable, but weird. What really like gave me an icky feeling, which I should really adore this, but playing that very first prequel mission, you go through that first cutscene, you load in as Chief, and you pull out your first gun, and it's a fucking battle rifle. And it's like, that's not in Combat Evolved. That doesn't exist. Like that's a Halo 2 thing. Like what is this doing here? I should have been stoked about it, but it gave me an icky feeling. I was just like, why? Like why 343? Like why are you trying to rewrite the narrative?
Well, that's kind of like a lot of people complain about Reach having the DMR, and then people are like, well, where was that in Combat Evolved? And I remember Bungie's explanation was like, oh, it was technology that they made on Reach, only on Reach, and then like when it was blown up, they lost it. Thinking like,
whatever.
Okay, I guess. I mean, I guess guns right now are only made on Earth. So if Earth got glass, that you wouldn't be finding them on the moon.
I will say though, I thought it was kind of cool that like they did throw some guns in there from 2
Oh
and
yeah.
3 and so on like that, just for like the variety sake. I'm like, that's kind of cool, you know. The only thing that kind of bummed me out though is that you didn't get the cool machine gun that for some reason is only in Halo 1. You know, because they changed it up, I think, literally in Halo 2,
Oh
where it's
yeah.
like, you know, you get half a clip now and it's not nearly as good. And
Well, the assault rifle is not even in 2. It comes back in
yeah,
3, but it's slightly
it's
different. I think it
different.
has a
Yeah,
lower
because
round count. It's one of the different
yeah, the assault rifle, they
specification ones.
just I
Yeah.
don't know why they got rid of that. It's even like the same thing with the original pistol. Like the pistol was never the same in the other Halo games either.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
You know, I know like in multiplayer the pistol was almost a little bit overkill, but
I think it's also a little odd that the SMG was in the game, but you couldn't dual wield it.
Yes,
Um,
that pissed me off, dude. That made me so
Like, what's the
upset.
point of
It's
even
like,
having it
what?
at that point?
Exactly.
the
Bullet
weirdest thing,
hoses
though,
from Halo 2.
the weird thing was though, this has been something that's bothered me for a while in like the Halo games, is that like so in Halo 2 they give you the dual wielding weapons, which is badass. That used to be a first person staple from like the 90s on to 2000s. For some reason, we just tossed out dual wielding guns because after I think it was Halo, could you still dual wield in that one?
I don't think so.
I don't
That
think so.
that might have been it because
I
I
think
know
it went
by
away in
5
Reach.
in Infinite, yeah, Reach, because I remember that was almost one of the bummers with that one. It's like, wow, no dual
Yeah,
Yeah,
wielding.
Reach
three
Like,
was
was
the last one that had
yeah.
dual wielding.
yeah, and I
Maybe
don't know why they took that feature away because it's like dual wielding the needler is like my favorite thing.
Yeah, that was like Game Shark, man. That was that dueling needler was like
It
I,
just
I don't know. I felt like you were like a F-22 Raptor, just like powerhousing a little hut with like
yeah.
ICBM.
Oh, yeah.
the only thing I could think of is that somebody or enough people bitched about it in multiplayer that it like made it unfair. So
I remember seeing
So-
another explanation from Bungie about the single weapon, like no dual wielding in Reach, saying they wanted to go back to the basics of Halo 1 before they, stopped making Halo. But
well,
See,
see,
but then
I mean, I get it was the same thing with the health bar too, because
yeah,
the when I played Halo 2, I was like, oh, I don't have to go find health, thank God. And then that carried through all the way to again Reach, and I think since then it's just a normal. Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
no
normal nowadays,
bars.
normal.
It's just your
Yeah, it's just shield.
Yeah, the health one was just that's almost like an old school carryover from back in the day. You know, that
Yeah.
just seemed like, oh, you pick up health. Every game does this.
I was
Why would we ever-
surprised. I wasn't upset, but I was surprised that they didn't include that in the campaign evolved.
Mhm.
Yeah, well,
I prefer it the way that they made it.
yeah, I
with
feel like in
no
the campaign,
bars.
yeah, the campaign involved, it's definitely geared towards. It's meant to be like for like the first timers playing Halo. You know, especially for the fact that it comes out on PlayStation. Like, I literally think that a lot of like the design choices in there
Yeah,
are designed for like there's gonna be a lot of people on PlayStation that have never played Halo before. We got to make this kind of like almost like as comforting as possible. If we make it too old school or something like that, it might throw off the youngins.
how'd you feel about Sprint being in the game?
Nope.
I ironically didn't use
Get
it
it the
very
fuck
much to
out.
tell you the truth.
So
I only use it like on the big wide open areas. Like for the most part,
Fair.
because the game still is in its 2001 like style. You know, you're mostly in hallways and things like that where you never really need the sprint anyways. So I just kind of normal Halo walked it.
I'm not gonna lie, I sprinted almost entirely through the game because I want to see how fast I could get through the game,
Mhm.
and it's too fast. I feel like that should not be in the game, and because you don't even get a sense of it.
The only mission that it makes sense for is assault on the control room, just for some of those outdoor areas that are fucking massive that you probably don't
Yep.
want to fight those battles anyways. You just want to be in a vehicle and going past them. So if you ever lose your vehicle, like that's the only place of the whole campaign I was like, okay, it makes sense here. But I still didn't use it. So I play bumper jumper too. So like I don't know what it's normally mapped to. I assume L3 or something like that. But for me, it's mapped on A, and like I just don't need to use
Such
A
a
at
weird
all.
button.
Well, it's because I got bumper jumper.
I know.
left,
I got
you
bumper
know,
jump. It's just
but
your sprint button's A.
yeah. Well, that's how I played Halo since probably Halo 3. Like I've always played bumper jumper. So
Well, I had to go in there and dick around with the controls for a while when I first started up the game because they didn't really have a proper Halo 1 control scheme on there. when I was flipping through everything. So I was like, okay, the only thing I just did is I just switched it off. So I didn't want L3 to be crouch. I've never been a big fan of that because when you panic, you always press the joystick in, and the next thing you know, you're crouching, which does not help the situation.
Yeah. Yep.
So I got kind of rid of that part, but the rest of my controls, I'm like, I don't want this. I want L2 to be grenades. Like, I don't want to get too confused here. I want to feel like Halo when I'm playing this.
Yeah. How about
But
the? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna follow up with Spencer's comment about this, like being geared towards like the new type of player, because every time I put myself in that mindset, I'm like, fuck all the history of Halo. This is my very first time playing it. If that was the case, 100%, dude, this game's fucking rad. It's badass.
Yeah.
But as a long-term vet, there's just so many things that were just like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Like,
I understand, like, people being creative, or wanting to, or thinking like when you go back to a game that you loved and now you're recreating it, you're like, nobody liked this, I'm gonna fix it.
Mhm.
That's one thing. But when like strange creative choices and you're like, why? That's kind of like the Scorpion. I was gonna ask how you like the Scorpion. So I mean, it seemed to be just like the other one, like driving it to me.
Mhm.
But I wondered why they made it like Halo 3, where you couldn't use the turret. That said, it'd have been kind of cool if maybe they fixed the turret, because from what I remember, the turret was almost useless because it was like wildly inaccurate in Halo 1. But then to just make it so you can't even use it anyway, kind of odd.
Yeah.
But then I thought, you know what? You only have the Scorpion in this whole game for like 5 minutes. Oh well.
Yeah.
But still kind of odd though.
There's a few changes like that. So we're, as Halo vets, I'm sure we're all aware in Combat Evolved, when you have a pistol and you go up against a hunter, it's a one shot to the back, right? My 7-year-old knows that because he's played Combat Evolved. He's playing Campaign Evolved, and he's like, Dad, why is it not working? Dad, why is it not working? Like, they just took it out. You can't do that anymore. And it's like, okay, so they added some challenge and whatnot. But I remember that as a kid.
The
When I first figured out, like, oh shit, you can take out the big bad fucking hunter with one round, unlock moment. Oh shit, that's badass, but that's gone now, so.
Well, that goes back to that where the Magnum used to be so overpowered that, like, that's why they kind of tossed that gun out of the games. That's why it kind of went away from the next ones, because it's like same thing on multiplayer. It's like it was just a glorified like one hit kill golden gun.
Oh yeah,
on my playthrough, I pretty much used the Magnum and the assault rifle the entire game.
Yeah,
and the only times I didn't was when I ran out of ammo and there wasn't just some laying around. I pretty much played with the Magnum, the assault rifle, and the plasma rifle. Yep. I thought, once I get to the flood, I'm gonna start using the shotgun, and then I'm like, just gonna keep using the Magnum, because it took me. Now I played it on normal for the run that I did, and it took me. I just stood there and I zoomed with the Magnum, and 2 shots in the head killed the flood.
Yep.
I'm like, I feel like this is a little easier than I remember.
Yep.
I gotta say this though, because I played the game just on normal too, just to do just like do a straight run through. I don't want to be like reloading a copious amount of time.
I did die a lot.
Yeah, I noticed this one was actually way harder than the original version. That was like the first thing I kind of noticed. I was like, oh shit. And well, plus it doesn't help. They give a lot of guys like rocket launchers and one hit kill grenades. And there's so many of like the terrorist children when they're running at you with the 2 grenades, like, so they like everything's blowing up like left and right. And then of course there's a lot more dudes with swords running around too. So I actually kind of give them credit for kind of cranking up that difficulty. And it's the same thing with the large guys, what are they called again?
Hunters.
About the hunters is because before it's just used to just strafe those guys and they just blast around you. I'm like, dude, these guys catch up.
No, their mechanics were a little more intelligent.
Yeah, they were dialed in and so on. Like when I saw 2 of them in that game, it was always like, okay, this is a little bit of a challenge,
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I just grab the alien pistol, and that would still kill them pretty quickly because you could shoot through the front of them with that gun.
Yeah,
with a charge shot.
I also think that if they didn't include the energy sword in this game, I think people would have been like, you remade this game and you didn't include. So I think that was probably the best decision they could have done in this game, was include that damn sword, because I remember playing Halo 1 and I'm like, why can't I use that? How come there's no? And then of course Halo 2 comes along, you're like, whoa,
I could use it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well, that's
so
what
glad
I
they
love
included the energy sword.
Yeah, you grab that sword and run around. Though I kid you not, mostly whenever I pick that sword up, it just means guaranteed I'm gonna get myself killed. I'm gonna put myself in really stupid situations, get real cocky, and next thing you know, I'm overwhelmed. And I was like, that was a terrible idea. Why did I pick this up?
Yep.
Yeah, I started the game with the prequel missions, and
That's
then
what I
went in the
did,
campaign
too.
afterward, and yeah, I died so much in those, and I was like, dude, what the fuck? But I mean, okay, and
Yeah.
yeah, I would have to agree about what you said about the like the purple palette kind of thing. That was kind of odd. The other thing I really didn't like about the prequel missions was the I don't even remember her name. I don't know if she's a sergeant or captain or whatever the hell she was.
You're just talking shit to Master Chief the whole time,
Yep.
like fucking,
It's like
clone child, mutant thing.
I don't care about male, female characters. I don't care. Every story ever told has had strong characters of every gender, this and that. It don't matter, man. But at least do it right and make it interesting and fun, or just I don't know, good. Just make it good. And
Yeah, good's the key word.
this shit about the like, oh, I'm not impressed. It's like literally just saved your life.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you were gonna
so
die.
got lucky.
And
I almost view this as personification of 343 towards Master Chief because here's the deal. Here's the deal. This is known fact. A lot of 343 did not like Halo when they were hired to make Halo,
which is
they were
hilarious.
purposefully hired to make Halo for being Halo haters. And they did that. They did that over the course of, however many years it's been, 15, 16 years now, however many long since Reach. It blows my mind, that this development studio did that. So a lot of the things that I see in this campaign involved a lot of the rewrites in the story, even if it's just lines they're rewriting or whatever, like they're just bad. They're just really bad. Like I really didn't enjoy any of it. When there's a scene of Sergeant Johnson talking, and he does this fucking like The Office style, like just looks directly at the camera, and I'm like, what is
I was
this?
like
What?
It's kind of weird. Like this video games make me feel a little awkward right now.
Yeah, he's breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Look at me like that, Avery. That's like the near the end of the third mission where you basically the female I don't even know if she's supposed to be an ODST or something. I didn't see ODST on her armor, but I thought it was somehow implied because she's a bitch. And
she was just pissed that she wasn't in the Spartan program.
And but when they have to detonate the bomb remotely and whatever, and she's talking about, oh, there's a one-way trip, I already knew it, and I'm like, dude, you're literally taking a like pivotal moment in Reach that was like a great scene, and you're doing the same thing but worse. Like this is like a freaking Force Awakens moment here. And I was like, dude, this is so just bad. I will say though, I really liked the flying mission. I thought it was kind of simple, and maybe over a little too quickly. But I was kind of happy to see that because I definitely wasn't expecting it. And I really liked that flying mission in Reach. I thought the one in Halo 4 was kind of terrible, and really hard near the end of it. But this one was kind of a fun little addition. It's kind of like that Space Invaders or whatever right before you start playing Tekken. But it's like, hey, I wasn't expecting this, but I enjoyed it.
A little bonus game here, yeah.
But yeah, that, and I know the game because I watched so many videos before I played it. Probably shouldn't have, but
I watched nothing. I was just like, well,
I didn't watch any gameplay. I just was like curious to see what people were saying, and like some people were reported. They reported like having a bunch of glitches and a bunch of things wrong. And to be honest, I didn't have any issues whatsoever. Well, no, that's not true. I had two issues that I just was like, okay. One was when I'd press pause and go do something, whatever, I'd come back and there was a lag. And then the other one was sometimes it seemed like the flood were like moving really slow. Like
so you saw that too. Okay, it's not just me.
I was like, what's going? And I'm like, I guess I'll just stand here and kill him. Like, but I was like, this is weird. It's like, you're dreaming. It's like when you're dreaming and you're like trying to punch somebody and you just can't. That's like I feel like the flood was going through. Poor bastards.
No, it really because I was trying to break that, because very commonly in podcasts I do with Spencer, like I try to break things down into wireframe, into like, how is it designed? Like why is it like that? The only reason that I could really think that it has that. So Spence, so basically what's happening is like distant creatures in with the flood or whatever, if they're off in the distance, they're running like full, like their animation is fully running, but it's like in slow-mo until they
Yeah.
break a certain barrier, and then bam, then they come, like super fast. I almost thought, like, is it a pacing thing? Like, is it the amount of mobs that are spawning into the level and they don't want too much to come at you at once? However, I also have footage that I'll send later too, where I'm standing in a doorway and like I'm about to walk through the doorway, and then bam, a whole mess load of those like little floods, just appear in front of me. I back up, I start shooting them, and then more spawn and more spawn and more, like literally in front of me. They're just spawning in front of me, just out of thin air. Just, whoop,
I didn't have
there.
that, but I did feel like there was a couple times where like literally on the other side of it, because I'm looking at my radar with the red blips. I'm like, okay, I just killed all those, but then like just again and again. But I mean, I couldn't see it, so I'm like, I mean, okay,
yeah,
but that's pretty odd.
Yeah. There's some weird spawning things going on in that game for sure.
I did notice just a little bit on my game is that every once in a while there'd be like the most slightest like catch up, like it's just almost like a couple frames miss, and then it kind of zipped back up. Nothing too much. Never got in the way of gameplay or anything like that, but just something that you kind of notice. You're like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Did you feel like the Maw was easier?
Yes.
Than it wasn't. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
I felt mainly with the where you have to blow up those reactors or whatever, because I was like, I wasn't looking forward to that because I hated it in the original, because I always fuck it up. I always like throw my grenade or shoot my rocket, but the vents close, and I'm like,
yep.
And this one, I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna go do this, and then I'm like, there's no vents. It's just a straight up hole. That mission took me like 10 minutes.
I like how they just stayed open too, because I think the other one they closed, don't they? If like you just can't, that's
they're
right,
like on timers or whatever.
See, now granted, if you're playing it in co-op, it's not so bad, but it's a pain in the ass if you're kind of like by yourself.
Yes.
So I'm glad they fixed that. Those are some of those small things where it's like that doesn't bother me that they fix that kind of stuff, there. Or it's like I know that
I didn't care that it was easier. I was
that's not a bad one. It's kind of like sort of like when some people are kind of complaining about like the checkpoints. Now, granted, there is a lot of checkpoint like things that pop up or waypoints or whatever you want to say that guide you. I will say though, it's not a bad thing though, because Halo 1 always was. That was kind of, if there was like an issue in Halo 1, is that sometimes you were running in circles trying to figure out what door to get into, especially when you're in some of those spaceship levels and so on like that. So I didn't mind. It's like, that's the door. Okay, go that direction. Okay, go that direction. Cool, that's fine. Keep leading me, Cortana. I'm fine with that. If I keep running around the same room, dead guys. I've been here before. Let's go.
I found some of their choices to change some of the cutscenes were very peculiar. Like one of the very first ones where Captain Keyes gives you a pistol that's completely different. And I'm kind of like,
go give this to my daughter. And you're like, what? Where's I need a weapon. Like, where is that?
Yeah. Like
well, then I thought, because when they had that cutscene, and then I remember, because it's like, is that supposed to be like the pistol you start off with? And I remember I tossed it out like 2 seconds in, like, oh, there's an alien gun.
Yep.
And I just pictured there was that scene where he goes back, like he's like, hey, you still got that pistol? Be like, no, I threw it out at the beginning of the game.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you give it back to him when you meet back up, I think. It's just weird. I'm like, this is a very and in general, I wouldn't care very much, but I think somebody's getting paid to make these weird changes. You could be making the game even better in different ways, but no, you're sitting here with this fancy engraved and whatever gun. Like, number one, nobody's doing that in the military. I call bullshit, but I'm like, nobody carries around a personal prized possession firearm, and they're like, give this to my daughter. When you see her, Master Chief's like, I don't even know who the fuck your daughter is.
Yeah.
Like,
Miranda,
where am I supposed to find her? We're not just on Earth. But that was very odd. And then and so different. Like the original was, well, here you go, son. I don't keep it loaded. If you remember that, you know what I mean.
Yep.
You'll have to find ammo as you go. So I'm just like, this is so weird, but whatever. That's, again, it's like nitpick, but I can't get it off my mind. The other one was the cutscene where you go after you've been hanging around with 343 Guilty Spark, and Cortana's like, hey man, like this isn't a good, nice weapon we can use. Captain Keys is uncovered. You got to go find him. That was such a weirdly paced scene in Campaign Evolved. I watched the comparison between the original, and I was like, yeah, this is really weird. Like, why wouldn't you just keep the? I don't know. That was out. It was odd.
No, there really is. There is a ton of that in here. The on first play again, like if you have zero context for combat evolved at all, totally fine, whatever. It's passable and whatnot. But again, like I just really don't think this was targeted for us as long-term fans. You know, like I really don't.
No.
No,
What
as I
about
said,
the,
I think it's an introduction game for sure, like 100%. Especially, it's an introduction game for the PlayStation gamers.
Yes. I heard that it was played really well, maybe better on PS5 than it did the Xbox. I didn't care.
I heard that
I was,
too, but then
it's
I'm
almost
like,
like
are they talking
blasphemy
about
to me.
PlayStation 5 Pro is what they're
Pro.
talking about?
Yeah,
Because there's a
Pro, yeah.
major difference between a Pro and a Series X. It's like a $300 different system.
Huh. Now you're making me wonder if I need to swap out my PS5 for a PS5 Pro.
Wait a year and a half and the PS6 will be out, or even less
Yeah,
than
exactly.
that, probably.
I'm not gonna lie, these will probably be the last systems I buy. I'm probably just gonna migrate to PC completely.
Well,
My
it's
man,
pretty
my
soon
man.
that there might not even be systems. I think that those days are getting
Yeah.
few and far between.
Even
Yeah, it's
Switch,
been forever.
or I'm sorry, even Nintendo. I'm kind of like, I think Switch 2 will probably be the last console I buy, and that's only because you can still get actual games on some cartridges. It's not even all of them.
Nintendo, no
Oh.
other ones.
But yeah, no, I just don't. I don't really see a point on getting another console. I mean, unless I was just like filthy rich, you know, and I'm like, I want every video game thing made. But even then, I'm like, I don't know. I have so much shit. I don't want to keep.
Well, I hate to sort of say it though. It's like we're almost at that point though, where like you can pretty much full on stream the whole time on Xbox, and it's not a problem.
Yeah,
Like there's a lot of games nowadays. I just straight up stream and they load great the whole way through. Maybe once in a blue moon, like in an hour, you have like maybe 2 micro glitches,
yeah,
and then it's back to normal. But you didn't have to download a 200 GB game. You know, you start it up right off the bat, and the way I look at it, it's like you could probably literally take your Xbox Series X, and then let's just say they have the next Xbox come out in the next PlayStation. Well, if you're streaming the games, it doesn't make a difference what system you're playing on. You could
yeah,
probably play it on an Xbox One,
yeah.
you know, and still stream Series X games, no problem.
Yep.
Yeah. Curious, what'd you think about the inclusion of that, like, I don't even know if it's supposed to be a hunter or something, but like the Juggernaut flood thing.
Oh,
Oh, those things.
yeah, that was
I forgot
Was
that
it-
was not in the original one. I was
it
kind of
was-
questioning it, but wasn't too sure.
yeah, because those show up in
Halo
it,
3.
it may yeah, was it Halo 3? I was gonna say because it might even be Halo 2, because like that's all centered around like the grave mine and all that. But yeah, weird, but oddly fun. You know, like I actually had a good time fighting those things.
Quite
and
the
whatnot.
challenge, yeah.
They're very tanky. But
I mean, the first time that I came across it, it's a cool scene, and then you fight it. I was like, well, that was kind of difficult.
Mhm.
Okay. And then the next few times they came around, I just ran past them. I didn't even try.
Yeah.
There.
Yep.
Well, I tried, and then I died, and I tried again, and I died, and I'm like, I'm just running. Like, I'm not even sticking around for this.
One thing I noticed though is if you were on the second floor, they could not figure out a way to get up there,
Yeah,
so you could
that's
just shoot
right.
them from the top.
Yeah, I did a lot of that. I did a lot of that in a handful of missions. I just jumped up to a place and just kept shooting and throwing grenades, and
Yeah.
it was
well,
a good time.
that's the library mission. It's actually the one piece that I was pretty upset that, because the library, honestly, out of all all combat evolved missions, easily the worst in my opinion. I fucking hate that.
It's so
that mission.
repetitive, and
It-
just
Yeah,
It's
it,
you're
very
like,
it
dude,
goes
when is this going
on
to be
for
over?
so long.
And
yeah.
it's like, why they had the opportunity? They've had the opportunity twice now, between Anniversary and now this campaign evolved, to like fix that, and they just didn't. The only thing that I will say though is like a lot of the handholdy features, like the mission markers that show up on your radar and things like that, like go here, like type that, sped that mission up quite a bit for me.
Yeah.
That's one of those missions that I can get stuck on for a minute, just run in circles and whatever. So
Yeah. So I was glad for that one, because that was one of the few times too that like I realized, I'm like, you know what? I can just sprint to the next marker and just get away from these guys. And it definitely made that go by much better, because don't get me wrong. Like Halo 1 is my favorite of all the Halos, but it is the one that has there is a couple rough edges, here and there that you just
Oh
kind
yeah.
of go with,
Yep. Yep. I think the other thing that absolutely stunned me in this game is like the remastering of all Marty O'Donnell's music first, like was fucking awesome to like hear all that original music again.
Yeah.
And some of the new music, a lot of the new like tones and stuff they brought out. But on top of that, like original grunt sounds, original elite sounds, original like all that. They have the original animation like where you come across an elite or whatever, and like you more or less like scare them, and they do this like weird like throw their arms up like real quick, just like type noise. It's still there, and it's just like, oh yes, okay, good.
I always thought that the original elites were kind of like big dogs.
Oh yeah.
Their behavior, like they just be looking around, you scare them, and it wasn't until I guess Halo 2, of course, where I'm like, oh, these guys are like giant squids. Like, because you don't really know in Halo 1 like what they are, like
they're
like
just
weird.
aliens.
They just look like
things.
aliens. I mean,
yeah, it was like it's like I was like the grunts. I used to always think that those were the children. I'm like, they must be child soldiers. I mean, it's a terrorist union, so you got child soldiers, and Master Chief's got no problem killing them all.
That's one of the things too. I always loved about Halo was you don't know that you're a Spartan super soldier. They call you a Spartan maybe once or twice in the game. I don't really remember, but I mean, you don't see yourself. You're just playing. So, until you get like progress through the story and everything and the other games and stuff, you just probably feel like you're just a normal sized guy. Yep. Lore wise, like you're this giant freaking juggernaut. Yep. And one thing I've always thought about is how does he fit in the vehicles? That are operated by other normal people.
Yeah. I mean, he only stands 9 feet tall and probably 3 tons.
I'm like, you look normal in the Warthog, so why doesn't everybody else look like they need a booster seat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I just always thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah,
you should look hilarious on a mongoose, but you look pretty normal.
Yeah. I gotta say this is actually, speaking of this, the Warthog, this was like a small feature, but I thought it was kind of cool, is that you could just literally, this because not in Halo 1 at least, not Halo 2 either, but you could switch seats like instantaneously just by pressing B or whatnot. So I could be driving and then I could jump into the gunner and then I could blast. And I
didn't even know that.
Because there's a point where like I didn't have any dudes with me, so I literally just pulled on up, switched just instantaneously to the gunner seat, blasted the guys, and then kept driving, and then did that multiple times. I'm like, that's cool. I don't have to get out and manually jump in.
There'd be no point to even have people. I mean, maybe a guy in the passenger seat.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice. I do like having a guy in there and just driving around and having him blast things for me.
So when we go to the silent cartographer and we land on the beach and we get to the first, like Fohammer comes over, she drops off the Warthog and all that, and we'd start driving it. Which I guess this happens in the second mission as well. Whenever we're in Warthogs, am I tracking properly that feels exactly like Halo Infinite, like in terms of physics and the way that it moved? Because it's not the original. It's not the. I didn't feel, because like the original, like the car will. Like if you just like hit a jump funny or something, you can flip and roll and do all the things and whatnot. This can do it too, but it's not nearly as severe. It felt like it almost felt like
a little more grounded.
Yeah.
I started playing the original right after I beat the campaign Evolved. I started playing the Halo 1 on Master Chief Collection, and a part of me thought the same thing, and I was wondering, like, am I just like choosing to believe this,
right,
or is it like legit? Like, I think it's slightly different, because I did feel a little bit more grounded in the campaign Evolved one. It still seemed kind of floaty, like you're almost not driving on the ground, you're just like right above it. But yeah, it seemed like it was a little safer.
Yeah. Well, the other one that kind of bugged me too is that they brought in destruction of vehicles and whatnot, and like that was a cool thing in Halo 2 because we hadn't seen it before. Like a Warhawk can actually blow up, whereas like there's speedrunning strats in like Truth and in Silent Cartographer, where like as soon as Fohammer drops that thing off, you jump into you stand on the outside of it, you throw fucking 3 grenades, you jump into the gunner seat, it blows up, and it throws you across the map to the other side to where you can just skip the whole fucking game, like the whole level, basically. You can't do that anymore.
I completely forgot.
Oh, yeah, it has an old glitch.
I completely forgot that the vehicles weren't, that you couldn't destroy the Warthog in the original.
Yeah, it was always just it just spun around a bunch of times and
Yep.
so
What
on
about
like
what about the scorpion? Could you destroy that?
I don't think so. Well, maybe no, maybe
Yeah,
you could
that
with
one
the
I think you
scorpion.
could.
I know. I only knew that the
Well, you
I
could
only
still
know for a
die in
fact that you
them.
could
You just
destroy the
couldn't.
permanent vehicles because you literally fight them and destroy them.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm kind of wondering about the ghost and the banshee and everything though too. I haven't played Combat Evolved in quite a while, so but I know for sure the fucking Warthog because like we used to play around with that all the time, like in co-op. You know, it's just like your buddy be sitting in the driver's seat, hauling ass right at you. You fire a rocket right at him, he goes, you know, flipping across the map and stuff. Like, yeah, you know. So
that's funny.
few
You
core
know,
differences.
I will say that this is an interesting one though that I'm surprised they kind of took this feature out. And generally, it's not something that would have bothered me on most games. But for the fact that they put it on PlayStation and stuff, they don't have any multiplayer in here. You would have thought they would
No.
have just kind of did the original game's multiplayer, and
Massive
then you
missed
would have had
opportunity.
yeah. But for the
343.
fact that if it was just on Xbox alone, I don't think it'd be like yeah fine you got Master Chief Collection if you want that. But the fact that it's on PlayStation, I'm like dude, you just lost an opportunity where you could have had Sony versus Xbox versus PC and so on like that. Now, granted, maybe Microsoft they don't want to give Sony too much, right? Yeah, you get like a little bit of taste of the Microsoft games, but not you don't get the whole package. Come
Well,
on over. I think they still have that thing like, hey, maybe somebody's gonna like Halo enough that they've never played it. They're gonna come buy a Series X and get Master Chief Collection and all that stuff.
Yeah. So
Did-
Combat Evolved on PC back in the day also had its own set of multiplayer maps on top of what exists on the console version and whatnot. So it's a massive missed opportunity for 343 to go like, nope, not doing that. And it's
Yeah.
like, why? Like,
yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was such a strange notion for the fact that because couldn't you also play the PC one online too back in the day?
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah, because that was like the main. I remember that being the big selling point of the PC version of Halo was that you could play it online. Before.
I do have a funny story about Halo PC back in high school. So I used to, frequent the computer lab very often. I was constantly in the computer lab, hanging out with Mr. Miller at Summer High School and all that, and like he was the guy that was teaching me how to like code in Visual Basic and blah, blah, blah. So he got really used to me and gave me a lot of liberties. He gave me access to the admin computer that's in the back of the classroom that nobody else had access to. So you bet your ass what I did is that I installed Quake 2, Doom, and the original Halo Combat Evolved on the whole school server to where you didn't even have to install it on any computer. You could just go to those servers, in the library, in the music room, in the blah, blah, blah. People were playing Halo constantly in high school. It was so funny sitting there in like fourth period, like whatever the fuck, Photoshop class or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, alt tabbing in between Halo and knowing that my buddies are in Spanish class doing the same shit. we're linking up in the same servers and playing against each other.
That's awesome.
Dude, it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
No, that's super cool. I remember I did so much of that anyways with just the games and so on like that, especially when like the DS came out and you had wireless capabilities.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you guys see the legendary ending for Campaign Evolved?
No, I didn't know there was an extended ending.
It's pretty hilarious. I knew I wasn't going to beat it on legendary, so I just watched it. But the
Is it still Johnson?
it is kinda.
Oh,
I won't ruin
change
it for you.
It's just Johnson shaving off his mustache really slow in the mirror.
Shave off that whole face. Put him back the way he was.
Well, the original has the Pillar of Autumn there, and like the legendary cutscene at the end is Sergeant Johnson, like hugging a fucking elite, going like, "Come on, baby," like bring it in and blah blah blah, and then like everything blows up, and then he shows up again, in Halo 2. No, I'm curious. I really don't care. I mean, I'll go to YouTube and watch it later anyway. What happens? I'm so curious.
So you see that scene on like a little screen, like a little monitor looking screen. And you're like, okay, like why am I watching this through another screen? Well, and then you hear Sergeant Johnson go, he pauses it, and you hear Sergeant Johnson go, the good old days or whatever. And he looks over in the distance. He's like just sitting on a beach by himself in like a against just this giant piece of metal, and just kind of like taking it easy. And he looks and he sees like way far away on the Halo, a huge giant explosion. It's because Chief's just blown up the the pillar on him, and he's like, "Oh, I guess that's my cue." And he takes a remote or something, and all of a sudden the Pelican powers up, and he just starts to leave. So, kind of a cool explanation as to how he got off the ring.
I gotcha. Okay.
Because you never really, I think a book explains it
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, probably because I know like in Halo 2 it starts up there like Johnson, how'd you get off there? He's like, that's not a story for you.
Yeah, that's classified. Sorry,
Don't worry about that.
The yeah, there was like a lot of other people that made it off too, but only briefly. And they ended up dying too because they got infected by the flood.
Yeah.
It was one of the Covenant cruisers, and they boarded it. They were thinking they were gonna use it to get home, but it was derelict. The Covenant abandoned it because it was infested with the flood. So, but Johnson, no, he got out of anyway. It was a cool scene, kind of funny, and but of course, it's like he looks at the camera again, another breaking the fourth wall moment where he's like, "See you in the next one." Like, see you in the sequel.
See you later, Space Cowboy.
So this is what it's gonna drive me insane because 343 Halo Studios is going to do this. I guarantee it because there is zero other Halo games in the pipeline right now. They're not doing an Infinite 2. They cut the new multiplayer game that they're making and whatnot. Watch them go use Unreal, go remake Halo 2, Halo 3.
I read something recently that said that's exactly what they're gonna do.
That's gonna piss me off, dude. It's gonna make me upset. No, like I have a lot of love for Combat Evolved. Don't get me wrong, but Halo 2 and especially Halo 3, like don't fuck with the continuity of those games, please. You know, like, and I'd like to say that through lessons learned, like okay, they have a fresh restart with Campaign Evolved. They redid Combat Evolved. They have a fresh start. Go make the next game. But we've seen it over and over and over again. We've seen it in Halo 4. We saw it in Halo 5. We saw it in Infinite. They're all subpar games compared to Bungie. They're all of them. Every single one of them. They're not awful games, excluding 5. But I don't know, dude. Like I'm so salty about the whole Bungie leaving, creating Destiny, and now getting shit on over Destiny. Like because Destiny's going away, and now they're making Marathon, and it's like, what's happening to all these studios? So
I don't know. That's what I was reading, and it didn't seem like a BS article, but at the same time, there's a lot of hate on this game, and
yeah, it's kind of weird how it's like one of those ones. It's there might be things you can nitpick, but the straight hate for it, it's like, I mean,
some of the things I think are kind of silly to be upset about, but at the same time, it's like, well, I mean, I didn't expect anything different from the 343/Halo Industries, and I don't expect much from a lot of developers these days anyways. I think video gaming is in such a weird place right now, and it has been for a bit, and I think it's going to take some time to really heal before things get better if they do. And I don't know, I would like to think that the amount of bad criticism on this might make the company think like, maybe we should get our shit together and just make another Halo that's really good. But I think I won't get my hopes up.
Yeah.
Because
all in all, I did like Halo Infinite, though, was kind of one of my favorite Halo experiences in the last while, though.
I love Halo Infinite
personally
because of how different it is.
Yeah, I thought this the campaign was super fun, and I actually liked the multiplayer in it because
I was hoping so much for DLC, like DLC missions that were going to follow up to it, and so disappointed.
They never did anything more with it and so on like that, and I was just gonna say, like, there was one multiplayer thing that I did like. It actually came from Halo 5, I remember. It was where they did the giant map ones. I thought those were kind of cool, where like you could go in there and there was like 6 different things you can do. Like you could go fight, pretty much red versus blue. You could go fight. There was computer players that got dropped in there. There was flags you could go capture. You could drive vehicles if you want. I thought that was kind of a cool one. And then they expanded on it even more in Infinite because it was just like, it was one of those ones you could just kind of jump in. And if you had a couple other people, just be like, we're just going to go casually play here, collect some points for the team, somehow, some way.
I thought, man, I mean, there were so many different things, especially they keep making books. They keep Halo Wars, like Halo Wars 2. There's so many different things they could do and have an awesome story, have an awesome game. But it's like they keep trying to reinvent the wheel with different shit. That new enemy they introduced at the end of the game, in Infinite, and then just going nowhere. They
Yeah.
totally ignored the endings of Halo Wars 2 and Halo 5, which not the end of the world there, but at the same time, the way they just kind of like cleared that up in the beginning of Halo Infinite was really weird. And then just odd, really odd. But I mean, I thought maybe that there'd be DLC with like, you'd see Spartan Jerome and the red team, like somehow, I don't
Yeah.
know, are back or whatever, but nothing. They just totally
Yeah.
dropped the ball. And the uh it's like, where's that going? Probably nowhere. They're probably just
Yeah.
gonna scrap it and do some new
Yeah.
stupid
Yeah.
shit.
It's the thing with Halo 5. So I'll explain like the absolute reason why I dislike that game so much. I actually really like Locke. I like that what are they, the Spartan 4s or the Spartan 5s or whatever they
Spartan
were,
Force.
is it the Spartan 4s? Because that's all in the books. That's in Ghosts of Onyx. Like the advent of those, like that Spartan, layer being included and whatnot. All super cool shit. The fucking problem is like one that you play as Locke majority of the game, and I wouldn't have had a problem with that leading up to the scene of when you find Chief. You finally find Chief, and it's like, cool, like I'm about to fight the dude that I've been playing on as for the last 15 years, and like they had this beautiful opportunity to like allow you as Locke to go fight your old self, as Chief, essentially, like, but they made it a fucking cutscene, and it's like no quick time events, nothing. It's just a cutscene, and Chief gets the shit kicked out of him, and then he beats the shit out of Locke and whatnot, and there's just no resolution by the end of it, and it's just like that frustrated me so much. I really don't mind when developers go and do something new, do something cool like that, like flip the script. Metal Gear Solid 2, prime fucking example with Raiden,
Yeah.
Prime example.
The downfall is it's such a dangerous proposition because it only very rarely does it work out. Metal Gear Solid 2 is like that one exception where it did kind of work. Granted, everybody was real pissed like initially when that game came out, but it
Like, what
kinda
the
worked
hell?
in the
Why am I
long
not
run.
playing a Snake?
But it's that one, like that fact that like it's weird to me when you don't play as the main character. It's like if I play a Tomb Raider game, I want to play as Lara Croft. If I'm playing as somebody else for like 3/4 of the game, or even half the game, or even a quarter of the game, I'm gonna be kind of disappointed. I didn't buy the game to play as somebody else.
Yep.
Yeah. I would have to agree with you on that. I didn't actually think about that with Locke and Chief. That would have been a cool fight, and it doesn't mean you got to kill Chief. You just defeat him,
Right.
or you get defeated. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's some questionable choices in that too. But once again, it's
and like I said,
you wonder why some people just keep going. It's like, dude, you keep doing this and you keep screwing it up. Why don't you, I don't know, sell the franchise or something? Who knows?
Well, it's kind of like I will say the one upside is because the downfall was for the last about 5 years, other than like Halo Infinite or so, and probably even a little bit longer than that though, is like Microsoft wasn't doing a great job of like keeping their two core franchises, which is Gears of War and Halo, like going strong. Now they don't need to be Halo or Call of Duty where they come out every single year. That's kind of overkill.
No, God, no. Don't.
But they should come out at least like once every 3 years or so. Should be kind of like, there should be at least like 2 or 3 Halos, same with Gears of War, per Xbox console. When there's only like one of them, maybe 2, it's like that's just not enough. Because really it's like Xbox Series X only has Infinite and now has campaign involved. Because 5 in Master Chief Collection, that's an Xbox One game, so they haven't done like a ton there in those last 2 systems. I mean, at least they have a brand new Gears of War coming out like in a month. So I give them credit there. So hopefully they're kind of turning that ship around, maybe. And
here's the deal. So I'm on Facebook just doom scrolling earlier, and I'm coming across articles from IGN, from Polygon, from all the major publishers. Microsoft's already laying off a lot of the studio that just made this game, and it's like, okay, so.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's like, bring them in. Well, it might be one of those weird. It might be like contract people.
Oh, sure.
In a sense,
sure.
they were only hired for one, section, and then that's why they get let off. And then somebody runs that story like they're firing everybody. It's like, well, no, the contract was done. But it will be interesting to see where they go, though, for the fact that, like I was thinking, it's like do they want to give? It's like that thing. Do they want to give Master Chief Collection to Sony? I don't think so. I
No,
really don't think they want to
probably
do
not.
that. So there is that weird sticky wicket thing where, yeah, they could do Halo 2. Now, Halo 3 is actually the one that really is the runner-up for that
Mhm.
needs the next remaster. 'Cause
That
they, in
hasn't
a
been
sense,
remastered at all. So
no. So
yeah,
you're still playing just the upscaled 360 version. So, but that only works out if you're selling it to only Xbox gamers,
yeah,
and PC gamers. That's pretty
Yep.
much the same thing.
yeah.
Well,
Time will tell.
I can give you guys some positive comments about campaign involved here. Dude, some of the fucking designs are so sick. I love this scene of, the Pillar of Autumn, just like right at the very start of it, and right at the start of the game and whatnot. And like that ship just coming in, and like the way that they designed it, because it's all redesigned, and it's very similar to the original architecture of the original Pillar of Autumn and all that. But there's so many things, man. When you're in Truth and Reconciliation, third mission, and like you make it to the gravity lift, and you have to fight all the dudes around the gravity lift before you go up to the ship and whatnot. Just the small amount of detail of just like floating rocks, around those gravity fields and stuff like that was so cool. Fucking cool. Water physics on Truth and Reconciliation, or sorry, on Silent Cartographer and whatnot, like any water areas and whatnot. Water physics, great.
Honestly, I feel like the Silent Cartographer is the best mission in the game.
Yeah, that's a really solid mission. Well, I always enjoy any of the outdoor missions. Are always my kind of like favorite go-tos. Whenever you kind of get stuck inside, you're like, man, it's just not nearly as good. You know?
I love the outdoor areas of Assault on the Control Room. Just like the snowy landscapes and all that.
Yeah, that's
so
super
cool. And I love the way that they redid a lot of those like bigger battles that are going on and whatnot. Like running through I guess it's the two betrayals on your way out, heading back towards Keys and whatnot. Anyways, like as you're running through that level and seeing the amount of flood and like Covenant fighting, that absolutely exists in Combat Evolved, but like it's so much more here. Like there's a lot more enemies on screen. I was constantly just like running into situations where it's like, fuck, I actually have to fight through this room because there's too many of them. A lot of cool stuff like that, for a remake.
Too, I thought that cutscene where you got to punch Keys in the face.
Yep.
I don't know why I kind of miss him actually punching him in the face. But I thought that scene though in general looked pretty dang amazing. Disgusting.
Well, Chief just grabbing the thing off of his ear and just just like ripping it off and he walks over and he just drops it on the table in front of Cortana and he's just like, get it done. It's just like so cold.
Just drop kicks that stupid pistol away.
Despite all the shortcomings,
the last things that he sees.
Despite all the shortcomings of the game, of 343 Halo Industries in general, I mean, I will buy this game. I was super pissed off at first that the collector's edition was so limited. I mean, I guess that's the point of being a collector's edition, but so limited and immediately is picked up by all the scalpers. Like I think it was like $200 or so. But then, if you find it, it's like, I think that people are selling it for like $700,000. I'm like, it's ridiculous.
Sometimes you just wait like a year or so, and then next thing you know, that price just drops, and then they realize that they can't get that money for it that they thought. So,
but I'll probably get I'm just gonna get the standard edition because I forgot. Oh man,
there we go. The Halo 3 possession.
So funny about this, guys. Real quick, another brief story. So when I first met my wife, girlfriend at the time, obviously. She started living with me within the first year. We have our first Christmas together. She wants a tree. I didn't have a fucking tree. So we go to the local Lowe's, we go buy a bullshit fucking fake tree or whatever. We put it up and she goes, where's all the ornaments? I'm like, well, fuck, I don't have ornaments either. So we go back to, a couple of the stores. We start buying ornaments and whatnot. Well, we forgot the fucking topper. So she goes like, well, what do you have to put on top of the tree? And I was like, and I look at that. This fucking helmet for the last 15 years has been on top of my Christmas tree. Ever since, dude.
That's hilarious.
It's my Christmas tree topper. So.
I might put my Shao Kahn helmet on top of my
There you go.
No, that Halo 3 special edition, because I remember there was a guy that, because I was in like college at that time period. I remember one of the guys like down from the dorm got that, and I remember just seeing like that was really badass. Like
I just wish
that's
you
a
could put it
collector's
on.
edition. Yeah,
Like I just wish you could put it
No,
on.
that's awesome. That's so awesome.
I guess you
I
could. Well, you
I
could if your
saw
head was really
one.
small.
I saw one of those at GameStop the other day. One of the helmets, but even though you can get some of those new, it's like to me that's not the same as that Halo 3 one because
Mhm.
that's before they made all these different like Hasbro's making all these helmets for Star Wars and Halo and all this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
they're a dime a dozen now, I guess, even though
Yeah.
they're still expensive.
No, dog. That is
you're not
whatever
just gonna
that
find
date
that.
was. November. I think it was November 7th, 2007, or whatever the
7,
date
yeah.
was of the Halo 3 release. That was Sonora GameStop midnight release. Waiting, getting it at 9 p.m. because it launches at 12 on the East Coast, and fucking jetting back home and playing the piss out of that game, dude. Like
You know, it's
I
funny.
miss those days, man.
There's a GameStop that's about I want to say 35 minutes west of me, and they still have all the Halo 3 window vinyls
Decals.
on their on their windows.
Hell
I was
yeah.
like,
Badass.
wow. I hope that never goes away. And if they close down, I'm gonna go over there with a couple razor blades
Mhm.
and take it off.
Yeah,
Mhm.
pull
There-
those off. I saw one in Los Angeles that still had that Halo 3 one up on the thing there. I don't know if it was a GameStop or something, but I was just like, oh, that's badass. It's like they
Put it on
haven't
my
changed
garage
that.
door.
They're
Yeah.
all like PS2 era stuff because I think there was like a Solid Snake and like yeah, everything was
Mhm.
like all oriented towards that. You know, it probably was a Nintendo one too, probably just a Mario or something, but like a Mario Sunshine or something.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I can say I think campaign evolved in general. It at the end of the day, it's fucking combat evolved. It's the game we all love and enjoyed, way back when, throughout all the years and whatnot. I just wish that there's just so many things within it that I'm just like, like again, like why?
Yeah.
Why did you do that? But I still very, very much enjoyed it. And like I said, I'm really, really enjoying watching my son play through it right now too.
Halo's never done to me what Call of Duty has done, and that is Black Ops 7. And I hope that never happens. I have
Yeah,
faith that it won't.
And then, yeah, that's the one that I guess I could always give is at least every Halo is playable. Unlike some of those Call of Duties, there's been like 2 of those Call of Duties because I think whatever I want to say it's Black Ops 5 like screwed me over too.
I don't think there was one. So they went
Maybe it was-
straight from 4 to Cold War to
Cold
6.
War. Yep.
No, there was one. Maybe it was called something different. Because I want to say Black Ops 3 was a real game because that game I remember they pretty much did the thing because that came out the same time as Halo 5. And I remember like Black Ops 3, I think was the one that came out and be like, oh, Halo 5 doesn't have split screen multiplayer, co-op or any of that stuff. Well, guess what? Black Ops has split screen multiplayer. It's got, you can
stupid,
play
man.
with all your friends. Yeah, they pretty much just kind of like shoved that in like Halo's face.
Trying to fix things that aren't problems to begin with. I don't know. But no.
Maybe it was Black Ops 4. I think Black Ops 4 was the one that was all multiplayer only. And I was just like,
Oh, that I don't know if we've mentioned it because Spencer and I were talking about it right before you hopped on or whatever, but just to recover real quick, the fact that this game has 4-player co-op is fucking rad. That is so
That
cool.
is cool.
I really want to try like if I can get a couple buddies, we need a
long
fourth
time
if
since I
us
did
three,
4-player split screen.
and just like just play it online because I think it's all cross.
Oh, that's right.
Everything too.
Yeah,
So
I think that's almost one of the biggest takeaways from this game is that you can play it 4 players co-op, which is badass in itself. But the fact that you can play it cross-play with PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, like that is really cool. And the fact that you can also still do split screen, like if you're together.
Yeah.
Because they screwed the pooch on that with both Halo Infinite and with Halo 5 of not having any split screen. That was my big complaint of Halo 5 was that the fact that they didn't put any co-op in it or split screen co-op. I was so disappointed. Like that really bothered me more than anything else. I mean, I kid you not. I kind of want to give Halo 5 another go because I only played it once and I haven't played it since then. And I want to give it the old college try because sometimes when you go back to things, you go, okay, let's fresh eyes, take a look at it, and then you play it because you kind of already know what you're getting into, and then you go, okay, it's not as bad as I kind of remembered it, but I was so disappointed when I couldn't play that with somebody else.
what's even worse than Halo 5 not having co-op campaign? The fact that Halo Infinite didn't have co-op campaign, because at the start of Halo Infinite, when they were doing all their announcements, here's the new game, like here we're doing Slip Space Engine, we're doing this, that, and the other, and every fucking keynote. They're like, bullet point, this will have co-op split screen multi, and it just didn't happen. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
You lied to me.
Granted, I never really have anybody to come on over to play split screen with me anymore, so I feel like I'm asking for something that like I'm sure I almost might not be able to use. But the thing is because to me, when I think of those glory days, which Halo's like the centerpiece of Xbox and 360 especially, is all the split screen multiplayer games that they used to have that were like, here's the thing, online is great, it's fun, but it is not even close to sitting next to your buddy, having a case of Mountain Dew and fucking like cranking through a campaign of either Halo, Gears of War, Army of Two, Call of Duty, there's so Left 4 Dead. There were so many of them, and then that just sort of faded away. They're like, yeah, we don't want you to, you guys shouldn't be in the same, house together. You know what I mean? Like you both go buy both the game and the Xbox. None of this cheap bastard friend shit anymore.
Yep. No, it very much feels like old man shaking the cane, especially like with like the Skeletor.
Pretty much just like Grandpa Simpson yelling at the Game Pass cloud.
Yeah. But
which this is a weird one too. For anybody who is wondering out there, if you play Game Pass, like just the straight up streaming, you can't play 2 players on that. I learned that one the hard way because I thought that because I had like the Amazon Fire Stick that you can have the Game Pass on. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. It's like having a pocket Xbox I can take to somebody else's house. And you can't play any of those older games, even if it's like a 360 game or anything like that. You can't hook up 2 controllers. For some reason, that's not a thing. And that Game Pass has been out for like 7 years, and it's not a thing to have 2 players.
Mm-hmm.
That's odd. That's so weird. But
I hate to sort of say it. Amazon Luna does it, no problem. I can play Quake 2, 4 players, split screen.
There you go. There
you go. That's about the only game I can on there, but still, just saying.
Yep.
Well.
But yeah, overall, though, I just gotta say this. I still enjoyed the Halo, the remake, I kind of like just having an alternative version of it. Does it replace the original version? Well, no, not necessarily, but it's still a solid way to go about it. And if you never played Halo before, I don't think it's a bad place.
I don't see why you wouldn't enjoy it at all.
Yep.
If you never played a Halo before, but yeah.
Yep.
And once again, as I said, I do think the target audience is the younger generation. They're not really shooting for Halo fans. They're trying to get like a new breed in here. So
yeah,
that might throw somebody off if you couldn't run, or sprint, I guess, and some of those kind of things that, because we're at that point too where there's so many video games out there that like if you're only like 20 years old by now, like
chances are you didn't even play Halo.
You probably didn't have time to catch up on all those other games. There's just been too much. So, it's not like the olden days where you actually legitimately could catch up on stuff. Now you're kind of like
everything's a Fortnite and Roblox world nowadays, dude. It's crazy, like as I don't let my son play those, like he wants to, like
you get those dirty games out of here.
But I mean, like literally, like even through the emulation station and whatnot, the kid's fucking playing like Silent Hill and shit. Like it's really weird that he like actually enjoys older games. Now, real off topic a little bit, but Star Fox, so the Star Fox remake just came out here recently. He refuses to play the 64 version, and I'm like, why? like you need to just see it, so why you like this.
Yeah, I always thought that one holds up so well for an older game because you don't need like super detailed graphics for that kind.
No.
The controls are. I think the key thing though is it's always like it's what your experience too. That's kind of it. Like I think if somebody, I always think about this is like with animation, but I've always wondered like if a kid sees like 3D CG animation like movies like Pixar stuff and so on like that, and then somebody shows them like a 2D animation one later, do they look at that like they're looking at like some weird rotoscope like old fashioned like Lost World animation King Kong stuff? Like I don't think they look at it like it's like almost like it's like, do they look at it like it's downgraded like art in a weird way if they've been exposed in the wrong direction?
Yep. No. Yeah, that's it's weird getting old, man.
Old man just there, but
these things change.
The damn changes. They're taking away our split screen. Damn it! I was looking forward to the retirement home and having the split screen multiplayer.
Oh man.
But, that's why we hold on to original hardware.
Yeah, you got to keep that on. Well, and I'll say this: at the end of the day, you always have emulation. I feel
Yep.
emulation keeps all that stuff in check. You know what I mean? Like, so if you mess up in life, that's okay. Emulation will have you covered. Some
Mhm.
nice person will program something that he's not even partially credited for, but he'll get you going.
Yep.
But no, at the end of the day, though, I still think at least there's a new Halo. That's all I got to say. Like, I would rather have something new than not at all.
Yeah,
And the fact that it is still pretty darn
exactly how I felt.
decent, and hopefully this means more Halos, and hopefully it'll just sell really well on PlayStation. I think that's going to be the sign. And I know that I talked to a handful of people that they got it on PlayStation and were super excited about it. They'd never played Halo before, and they enjoyed the experience. So I think that's a cool thing.
Oh
The
yeah,
bet I think the best thing 343 can do, because inevitably, like we were just talking about, they are going to redo, Halo 2 and Halo 3 very, very likely in Unreal. Just please, with Halo 2, use Anniversary as the baseline. Just
yeah,
redo that in Unreal. Just redo that. Cutscenes and everything. Just redo that. Halo 3, 1-to-1 it. Don't fuck with anything of that game. Please. Please don't
Yeah.
touch anything. you know? But even if they do, and this is the other thing too. So like I've got a lot of buddies in my life that, like have a hard time with newer games in the franchises that they love, and like I can equally say the same thing. Halo is one of them, Metal Gear, like post Kojima days and whatnot,
yeah.
like when that Survive came out and all that, I'm just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Um, that I think the thing is that people need to keep in mind is that even though I have a lot of disdain and complaints about 343 in this particular case, throughout all of their games that they've created for the Halo franchise, none of it takes away from the originals. None of it. The
No.
originals still exist. They're still there. They're still in their full fucking glory that I remember them being in. Would I like to see them remade like 1-to-1, like perfectly the way that I envision it? Of course I would.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, just because a new piece of media comes out like Campaign Evolved that is better than Anniversary, I'll give it that. I
Yeah.
like this way better than Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition. But
Yeah, I did like that anniversary one quite a bit, at least especially
it
back in the
just
day.
doesn't take away from the original 2001 version of Combat Evolved. It just doesn't. That game still is until it goes on to like myabandonware.com, like where you have to like, do emulation and whatnot. Like you can buy this game everywhere. Like I mean, it's not like it's gone forever. So
Mhm.
that's how I'll leave this. Is that I know that I've been kind of a downer this episode with some of this stuff, but
It is
at
what
the
it
end
is.
of the day, I really, really enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun. It's always cool to go back and see, the original Halo and go blow it up. Like
It
super
relit the fire for me for getting back into all the other ones. I'll say that.
Yeah. As I said, I'm always down for a good Halo marathon anyway. So let's say this one just makes for it's just a nice alternative one. And as I said, if I compare it to other remakes like Final Fantasy VII, like they did at least didn't screw the pooch kind of thing.
Yeah.
At least it's still in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's at least better than anything. But yeah, like I said, there's grand remakes like stuff like the Resident Evil remake, like the one on GameCube, to things like Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes, and so on like that. That can sort of change it up a bit, but still offer like just as good experience, just in an alternative way. And then there's times ones like this where it's like it gives you a little bit more, a little bit of variety, and so on like that. Follows the same path for the most part, but even has its little changes here and there. Um, I know that's like this is going to be kind of an era. I mean, there's always remakes, and there's always has been, but I feel like we're going to see a lot of those big games from the 2000s get a lot more remakes.
Think you're right.
90s and 2000s. It's like we had Star Fox already. We had Metal Gear Solid 3. We have, Halo right here. There's Tomb Raider coming out
Oh my
next
God.
year. So they're kind of going heavy on some of these things to try to reignite some of these franchises, I think, for other people. And I think sometimes there's a lot of those people out there that this might be the only way that they're able to kind of finally get in, Halo. Maybe they thought about the game. They, like I've always wanted to kind of play it and so on like that, but they're just once again, there's so many video games out there nowadays that like who's got the time to catch up on everything. But if someone puts out a brand new version, and here it is. It's sort of like I'm going to use a movie reference here, but when they made the Psycho remake in like 1999, and the dude pretty much
Yeah.
did it shot for the most part. And what he kind of said at the end of like, what are you doing it just shot for? Like everything like that. He's like, here's the thing. Psycho is an amazing movie, but it's old and it's black and white, and I know most people might not go all their way to see it, so it has to kind of have a fresh, new take and so on like
Yeah.
that. And sometimes that's how I feel about some of these games too. It's like, you know what I mean? There's going to be that person out there that's going to throw like Halo 1 on and play it in its like original version and be like, "Oh, it's so old and slow and the frame rate's weird." And, you know what I mean? They're going to bitch about all that kind of stuff. So you sometimes kind of need one like this where it's just like, "Here you go. For the frame rate's good, it plays a little bit more modern, have at it."
Yep. I tell you, the next remake that I am most excited for, but also most cautiously like, I hope they don't fuck it up. The Code Veronica remake next year.
Oh,
That one, Spence and I talked about it because we covered that game semi recently, and like we've been kind of talking about that, and I don't know how they're gonna do it. like there's so much stuff about the original game that just
you cross-dressing freak.
just like, dude, there's some content in the original version that's just like, I mean, it could probably use a rewrite. Just like, I don't know.
It's back in the day when cross-dressing was, you knew that was gonna be a bad guy character.
So,
but no, because I'm expecting, that's a perfect example. Like when I go into that one, I'm not expecting a 1-to-1 remake. I'm expecting, well, those Resident Evil ones have never really been 1-to-1 except for maybe the original one.
But at least
Close
Capcom's proven themselves at this point.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the one
That's
thing
the
that,
thing.
that I'm like,
That's for sure.
Okay.
At least, even if I have some kind of like nitpicking complaint, because I had some nitpicky stuff about Resident Evil 2, the remake, but then ironically, I like the 3 like ton, even though they kind of shortened it and streamlined the 3 experience. I love the living daylights out of that game. So I'm gonna enjoy it no matter what. As I said, I always try to go into them with like an open mind, because it's really easy to go in there with like your kind of blinders up.
Oh,
and
sure.
Just, like if it's
that's how
not
most people are like these days. Oh,
yeah, I know it's just like one of those
Like,
ones. So I try to
why
go
you
in
even
there and go, yeah, let's see what it's like. But no, I mean it's a good time. We got all kinds of games to play. They're remaking old ones, like why not? And so at the end of the day, it'd be like there'd be a brand new game out or a remake of an old game. Well, I guess I'll take the remake of the old game.
Yep.
So, but yeah, hopefully more Halo in the future. Hopefully it's not a long ass wait like it's been the last 15 years. Between Halo games. So yeah, I just hope it kind of reignites at least something. Even if all it is a Halo 2 remake, I'll check it out.
Yep,
I'm
play it.
not opposed to that. And a Halo 3 one, that one I am looking kind of.
That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, because that game kind of it needs a little bit more than just the upscale. I mean, it looks good on the Master Chief Collection, but come on, it'd be nice to see it.
I will say just real brief about Halo 3. It's fucking amazing that I can play that on mouse and keyboard nowadays through the Master Chief Collection on Steam. It's wonderful. I fucking love Halo 3. That's my favorite game. So.
Yeah, Halo 3 is pretty darn solid, Just that original trilogy, you can't go wrong with that one. All 3 of them together, back to back, especially if you can play it split screen multiplayer or split screen co-op. It's perfect. But yeah, beyond all that good stuff, check out more Old Man Orange podcast as well as the Silent Evil podcast, all on YouTube and Spotify. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I am Cameron.
Dave Candido.
And we'll see you some other time.